can get started, what I wanted to go ahead and kind of show you how to prep a file before you get started in any type of animation. So what I did was just kind of looked up what a southern stingray was and the mangrove. So I came up with a couple images that were a lot of side profile shot, maybe a forced perspective, maybe them in underneath the sand. So it's really challenging to try to model that when you don't have actual imagery where you have a forced top view, side view, and front view. These are really important when you start to model any object. So I'm going to work on some images that I found on the internet, and we're not making profit off of this. I'm just using it as educational. So I'm going to show you how to grab images, get them prepped for Maya. We're going to bring them into Maya, and we're going to go ahead and open up a box modeling and go ahead and start working on extruding, getting some basic shapes. And we're going to spend about, like I said, about 2 hours on this, and then we'll pivot over to the ZBrush using our Wacom tablets to start sculpting out very, very simple forms on the Stingray. All right, I will also maybe show you guys how to do some photogrammetry. So if you're able to go out and maybe capture this Stingray, that was very helpful to take photos. You could catch and release if you could. There's all kinds of different ways of grabbing imagery without harming the animal. Also, there may be some research centers that you could probably pick their brain and figure out maybe they have specimens in their collection that could be very helpful. Here in Virginia, we have the Smithsonian, and sometimes we can go to Smithsonian and pull stuff out of their archives and do some photogrammetry. We'll talk about that in class, maybe show you an example of how to do a photogrammetry really quickly. All right, so enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and kind of jump into the Photoshop. Again, this was grabbed off the internet. Don't really have rights of this, but I just want to use it as a silhouette for our modeling purposes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to kind of grab imagery and kind of set it up for Photoshop. So really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to start with a new Photoshop file. So I'm going to do 1200 by 1200. Hit create. All right, so we want a square, and I'm just going to go ahead and get this to the side, kind of force this into a position, and hit enter. And I'm going to go back to my original one, and now I'm going to grab the underbelly. So this is really important because we're going to model it. Unfortunately, we do not have a front or a side view, so we have no idea how tall this is. So it's going to be a lot of guessing, which is not the best thing for modeling this. And so we're just going to go ahead and Command T. Hopefully you guys understand Photoshop and have worked with this software in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to opacity. I'm going through this really quickly. I'm just trying to get this kind of scaled up so we have this as a reference. All right, so I'm just kind of using my arrow keys. I think we'll just try to get the body lined up, not the tail. I think the tail will be pretty straightforward. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, go up to 100%. I'm going to go ahead and save as, and we're going to have a bottom and a top. So we're going to go desktop, and we're going to create a folder called support material. And what I'll probably do is we probably won't even start here with our workshop. We're just going to go ahead and go full on and give you these files already prepped. It'll be a lot faster. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go JPEG, and we're going to go ahead and call this bottom underscore Stingray. So anytime you do with Maya, go ahead and get in the habit of underscoring everything. Doesn't like hyphens, especially in MailScript and numbering over here or spaces. So let's go ahead, save as a JPEG. Okie dokie. All right, so I'm gonna turn that off and then save this as top, Stingray. All right, JPEG format, grab that, and I'm just gonna call this top TOP. All right, save it. All right, so this is just kind of a rough outline of what we're gonna do. Basically, we're gonna try to keep this model very, very simple. That way when we jump into ZBrush, we can start sculpting out the eyes and so forth. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to my Finder and I'm gonna open up, and everyone should have this, the MB or MA. If you're having issues with opening up the MB, double click the MA and Maya. So we're gonna go ahead and open this up. Basically, this is the box that we're going to be modeling from. Again, it's symmetrical, so when we start modeling the Stingray, we only have to model half of it. All right, this video is only to figure out how to prep the material and also how to bring in imagery for your model. All right, so again, for the class, this will already be done for you all. So we're going to bring in the top view into this image so we can see it. So we're going to go View, Image Plane, Import Image, and we're going to go Desktop to our presentation, Support Material, we're going to go to Top. All right, so we have that. Looks pretty small, pretty puny, so we're going to kind of scale this up, and also going to rotate it. All right, let's see if we can rotate that, and we may rotate our plane. All right, I guess we're just going to eyeball it. I was hoping we can just type in 90 degrees. All right, I'm basically just eyeballing it. All right, hit enter. We're going to go ahead and going to do a new layer. All right, and we're going to grab that layer and hit Add Selected Object. So we can turn it on and off, which is helpful, and hit R. So we're not going to put the bottom one in there yet. We'll probably get that into that shortly. So if we hit space bar, we can go in here and move around. You see I have it as R as reference, which will lock it down. But there will be a point when we put the bottom where we want to be able to pull this down and pull this up and so forth. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and lock that in. Hit R. All right, and as you can see, I can move stuff around within this interface. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I will show you how to scale this, get this ready for our workshop. I'm going to go ahead and scale this down. Go ahead and get our box ready. And we're going to save it in just a second. All right, it's pretty big here. I'm going to go ahead and scale this down. Again, if you've ever seen a Stingray, they're pretty thin. It's basically just kind of ridge and down. So we don't have much to work on. We're just going to go by my kind of my viewpoint of what I've seen growing up in Florida and what it looks like. All right, so we're going to grab all these, probably move them down into the center. All right, I'm going to stop there and save as. All right, get into the habit every 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and save this as Stingray 1. _1. All right, we'll go into learning how to save this in an iterative way. So we're going to hit save. All right, you can also go hit increment save, and we'll probably do that next. All right, so I want to stop the video here. Again, this is just to get you acclimated on how to get images off the internet, put them into Maya, so there's helpful for the modeling phase. Again, this may not be the same species, but it's pretty close to the silhouette, but that's basically all I could get from a really clean top and bottom view. All right, one of the things also is this grid. If you don't want to see it, you can hit show and grid. Same for the top view. It's quite annoying. I go show and grid, and that's pretty clean. All right, so I want to save it one more time, and then I'm going to stop the recording and move on to our second video.